All right. Okay, so we say we've got this data set and we've got these instructions, and the instruction, describes what each table is. We've got the sales order table, we've got the team list, and we've got the fruit list, and we've talked through what each table, describes. The sales order describes the orders that have been made. We see the salesperson for each order, the date, how many quantities of fruits for each order was ordered, and we see a calculation of total sales there. There's an attribute there. Exception of sale is actually a question, and we've got the customers who bought those fruits. And we've got our table, the team list table, which shows a hierarchy of how reportings, go. So from the salesperson to the team leader to the operational manager, and we can see the regions and their commission amount that they are earning on the sales they've made. And then we've got the fruit list, which is just the list of fruits, the ID of the fruits, the name of the fruits, the cost in pence, their availability through the 4 seasons. We've got an attribute for stock, how many is in stock. That doesn't state how many is in stock at what season. It just says stock. And we've got something here that talks about what if season 3 was fewer than 10K. And we've got the true or false, data there that's in that column. Going back, I've read this before. This instruction is very important. It says team list shows the reporting hierarchy of the salespeople and the percentage commission they earn on sales with profit over 1,000. So when we calculate the profit, if it's under 1,000, we're not calculating any commission for such person. And then any orders with an exception flag on the sales order are not to be included in any profit calculation. So those are 2 very important instructions that we'll take note of when we start. So that is us understanding the data. And then the next bit, from understanding the data from this point, from this slide, when we talked about our learning path or data analytics life cycle. The first part is we understand the data, and part of understanding the data is you are understanding why you need to build that report. Why do you need to perform that data analytics operation? So we are on number 1 right now. So going back to our data set, can we still see the data set?
Yes.
Okay. So we understand our data set to a very good extent now. We just need to then read through the questions. We need to, see what total profit for the month by team leader. So we need to calculate what the total profit for the month by team leader is. We need to see what are top 5 commission earners over the month. Commission is only paid per sale when profit is greater than 1,000, and it's not an exception. Those 2 conditions must be fulfilled before we can assign any amount of commission to any salesperson or their team leader. Then we need a chart of the number of items sold per day. Okay, if we look through the team list, or the sales order actually, where we've got dates, we see that on the 4th of January 2018, we've got quite, it's not just the row. So if I filter on just the 4th, we see quite a lot of sales happened, on just that day, quite a lot. So the question then is, what's the number of items that were sold per day? Also, we need a list of fruits available for season 3 with fewer than 10K in stock. So that would refer to, let me unfilter that. Let me return this. And that will refer to where we've got this, where it says season 3, fewer 10K. So there's a question around it. A list of fruits available for season 3 with fewer than 10K in stock, okay? Then total cost per region alongside total sales amount. Average commission paid by ops manager with the number of sales that led to this. Chart showing the most profitable day of the week and total cost of exceptions, okay? So if I were faced with something like this, I would take time to read it over and over again, to be honest, so I get the full gist of it. I would look through my data again, to see, okay, there's a talk around profit. I see total sales here. I don't see the cost. And I would need the cost to, calculate the profit. So that tells me that I need to look through. Okay, I've got team list, and there, apart from the commission amount, nothing tells me anything further. But on the fruit list, there is a cost. There is a cost. So, and there is the fruit ID, the name of the fruit, and of course the cost. Okay, so that tells me that I would at some point need to bring this cost to here, so that I can calculate total cost using this product count, which we can actually change to the quantity. The count of the product is the same as the product quantity. Okay, so and we I'm already forming a thought on how I'm going to approach this, what I'm going to be doing, as I move through this. Okay, so do we get the gist up to this point?
Yes,
we do. Okay, so then we can start. I'm going to need to close this so that we can bring it in as a workbook, on its own into Power Query. I prefer to walk through Power Query than us doing VLOOKUP to bring, and that's one way to do it as well, which was the way we started. We started by, VLOOKUPing or any kind of lookup, whatever we need from the other tables, we just, make sure we bring it into our facts table. We've not even decided which one is our facts table, which one is not the facts table. So let's decide which is the facts table, which is the dimension table.
So our sales order is the fact table because that is where our measurements are. What we are trying to measure resides in the sales order. Then our team lists and our fruit lists will be the dimensions. So those are the dimensions we'll be looking into to filter, to group, and to drill down, to slice, and so on.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So yeah, this is our facts table. It's the facts table because that's where the event has been recorded. What's the event? The event is we are selling fruits. So the sales of our fruits is recorded here, and that makes it a facts table. And the team list is only a lookup of our team. We can see the salesperson, we can see the team leader, we can see the operations manager. It doesn't give us more than that. And of course, the fruit list might is as good as being an audit. You know how you own a store and you do your audit, you know what is in stock. This is what I've got, this is how much I sell it, each one for. So you know how to restock, you know, that's what fruit list is for. Okay. Let's close this. I know that's Fruit Project Work Pro Max. Okay, so I'll close this. I mean, people have different ways of doing the work. I'm going to open a fresh Excel to bring it in. There might be a better way to actually do it, but because I've got 3 tables to consider, if I stay on that workbook to take it straight into Power Query, it will just be looking at just the one of the tables. So that's why I want to bring in a blank one, and then we can get data from there. Okay, so the way we get our data in now, so this is the next step. After we've done all the understanding the data and understanding why we are doing the analytics now, we move on to the next stage, which is data preparation. Now, data preparation is when you get your data, you know, everything you need from the various sources that you need them from, you know, and consolidate them and clean them up, and just make them usable for the purpose that you need, you know, those data sets for, however many. Sometimes you could need to get from online, from some web, from, you know, from some departments at work, and just, you know, consolidate them together to achieve your aim. So sometimes it's not just one source that you use to build a particular report. But in this case, we are fine with the source that we have. So I'm going into data to get my data now, and get data, and I'll say from Excel workbook, right? And I believe that is actually in documents. So let me see. Fruit Project Work Pro Max. Believe it should be this one. I hope I have not stored more than. Okay, so we bring that in, it opens up the Power Query. So it opens up this Power Query, not Power Query yet, the Navigator. And in the Navigator, we can see different tables. We see table 1, table 2, table 3, you know, because I'm going to select more than one. I'm going to click on select multiple items. Okay, so we can click on each table just to preview what it is about. We didn't see table 1, 2, 3 initially. Why are we seeing table 1, 2, 3 now? So let's have a look through. This looks like product count, fruit name. This looks like the fruit list, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks like the fruit list, and some other things, to be honest. So I'm not very clear about that table. I'm hoping that I haven't brought in another version of the workbook, because I've got quite a few of them. Okay, but whichever one we are comfortable to bring in, let's see what this last 3 are about. Okay, fruit list. Okay, that's very straightforward for me. If I look through, I see the fruit ID, the fruit name, fruit cost. So that's not different from what we saw earlier. So I'm fine with that one. Sales order. Yeah, the salesperson, fruit ID, product count. Okay. I might have brought in a different version of our work, but I'll bring it in like that. Okay, so we need this, and we need this. We don't need a task description. We need those three: sales order, fruit list, and the team list. And rather than click on load, because we need to clean, if you are very sure your data set is okay, you just click on, load. You can click on load or load to. Load will just load it straight away into your Excel. Load to, it will give you other options of how you are going to load. And then transform data. Transform data brings us into the Power Query editor, where we can do some work, on our data set. So I see the fruit list here being the number one, okay? And I see that on the right-hand side, on my applied steps, it's actually, applied some steps. We see that we brought it from the source, and then we brought it through the navigation, and then it's done the work of promoting the header for us. We didn't ask it to do that, but it did it. It just sensed, at this point, when it brought it in, the headers were on row 1. It promoted the headers for us, and it changed type, changed some of the data types that we didn't ask it to do. There's no harm in actually removing some steps, because just in case it is not what you want. And because I want to show us how to do these promoted headers, I'm going to remove that as well, okay? So let's say Power Query did not help you to promote the headers. You brought your data set in, and you see that now you have the headers as row 1. And then on the headers, on the column headers, you just have column 1, column 2, column 3, like that. How do you promote the headers? How do you promote row 1 to become the actual headers? There's a few ways to do that. One of them is under home. If you come here, use first row as headers. I'm just going to click the drop down, and the first part says use first row as headers, or use headers as first row if you want to do the opposite. In our own case, it's use first row as headers. So I click on that, and it does it for me, okay? And I'll undo that. Another way is, if you come to the right, this corner here, if I click on that corner there, I've got a few options of what I can do. Some people just find that quicker to use rather than just scanning through the top here to look for the functions. You can actually do various functions here. Copy entire table, use first row as headers, add custom column, and a whole lot of other functions. Keep top rows, keep duplicates, whatever it is you want to do. In our own case, we just want to, use first row as headers, and each time I use first row as headers or promote the headers, it just automatically changes a type for me. It does a change type. Let me see. I'm going to undo that. I want to see which of the data type is it changing automatically for me. So I'll remove that. And I see that it's my IDs, okay? So if I want my ID to be text, to just remain like that, I don't need it to, but because it sees them as number anyway, it automatically just wants to change it to a number for you. And if you did not realize that, you will just carry on working without knowing that it has done what you didn't send it to do. Okay, if you really want that part, you can leave it. And one good reason why it's good to go back and really check through what steps this the machine has done is because you see, when it changes type, most of the time it doesn't just change type for one. It could actually be changing many different other types there, but most of the time I would rather do it myself, just so I know exactly what it is that I've done, So looking through this data set now, I see that this is not, this is not conforming to the rule of others. I don't know why that is. But let's see. Okay, so that is text. And I've just changed it to text and it's conformed. It's actually the only one conforming, others were not conforming. And then I see something changed as well. I think my false started, it was starting with a capital letter before.
Letters,
Yes.
And now it's changed it.
Oh,
Isn't this interesting? I'm just going to undo that and see what
all
exactly
capital
happened.
letters.
Aha. So it's even all capital.
Yeah.
And just because I changed to text, I didn't even do more than that. It just decided to, this is interesting. Okay. But there's a way to, change that. We can change using transform. We can go on transform and do a few formatting on that transform. You can format however you want, you want your text to appear. In this case, it's all capital for the others. So I'm going to put it as all uppercase, and that should solve that problem. What made it do that, I would never know. Okay. And our stock should be numbers. Okay. But I see ABC 1, 2, 3 here. So we are going to change that to whole number. Okay. So, I mean, this is fine as ABC 1, 2, 3 or text if we want it to be text. It's doing the same thing again. I really don't mind.
Can I ask a quick question, Sister Debbie?
Yes,
you know that ABC 1, 2, 3, it was still right aligned, for the stock. I mean the stock now. When it was showing ABC 1, 2, 3, it was still right aligned. It wasn't left aligned.
It wasn't left aligned.
So,
ABC 1, 2, 3, I think it's like general in Excel. We've got one of the data types, or when you're formatting, that just says general. Okay. I think it's like general.
General, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the formatting right or left it doesn't override the fact that the right data type must be seen here, especially when it's number.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, as long as it's seeing it as number here, because it matters when you start to use it to calculate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do all of this together. Okay. I mean, if I don't do anything with this, it's actually all right. But I'm going to pick all of the seasons so that I deal with that problem together once and for all. And then create data type. Is it create or change? Should I be creating or changing data type? Let's see what create data type does. I've not seen this before. Choose how the data type will be displayed. Okay. Data type, season 4 available. No idea what this is. No idea what that is. Okay. Well, I can come here, use this data type here. Okay, we see the current data type says any. Okay, the ones I've picked. See the data type, it says any, like it's a general. That's why we see both ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay, but let's see it as text because those are text anyway. Okay, then together I'll solve that problem of all of them being in the lower case. So I know that I don't have to. I could have done everything together here, to be honest, so that that step is not too many there. But yeah, and then we've got our fruits in cost. Okay, you know what? I'm going to remove this. I think I brought in a different version because I did this fruits project work a few times. So I must have brought in a different version of it. But it's the same thing. It's just that some more work have been done in the one that I've brought in. That's why I removed that. I don't want any work done on it so that we do it from the scratch ourselves. Okay. So this says this is fruit cost, but it's in pence. So if we change this to currency, okay, no, this is not what we want. It's seeing it as 128 pound or dollar, okay, but what we want is 1.28, okay. So I'm going to remove that because that did not work. I don't want to remove it as from this point. Yeah, I can actually remove it from this point. So what's the best thing to do now here? Let's see if I can. Okay, divide by 100, isn't it? So that it sees this at £1.28 is what I'm trying to achieve here. So if I say this under transform, now I want to maintain the same column, divide by 100 to get it to the value that we want. So this way, yeah, this way we see 1.28. So this cost is no longer in pence anymore, it's in pounds. And we can see in the, I need to keep, keep coming to this M column, this formula bar, because each step we do, if we, look at what has been done with the formula there, it helps us to understand, and it helps us to be able to manipulate the formula to our own advantage. We don't have to know how to write it. It would write it for us. It's just sometimes you need to change it to your own advantage sometimes. So what I've just done now, it says equals table dot transform columns, because I use the transform, I use that formula under transform. So the last step, so it will refer to the previous step, which is, if you look at the applied steps, the previous step before this divided column is removed columns. So it's saying that from the previous column, what was done, that fruit cost in pence, each one of them was divided by 100. The fruit cost pence, each one was divided by 100. And the data type, that's the meaning of the type here. The data type here is number. That's how to read that, okay? And I can change this. I don't want it to be fruit pence anymore. I want it to be just fruit cost, okay? So I can just remove the pence from there, and that should solve it. And if we look through renamed columns, and the formula is table dot rename columns, and the previous step, which was divided column, the fruit cost bracket pence has now become fruit cost. That's all that is saying there. Okay. Now for anything text or name, if we don't change it, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. It's mostly the numbers, the dates that we must really change, because they matter in the order of things. Okay. Then we have the sales order. I'm going to change my ID. Okay, actually, the same thing happened with the sales order, this one as well. And I'm not going to go back to how to promote headers. I'll leave that. I'll leave that alone. Okay. The only thing is, I'll change my ID to text. Yes, replace it. So I'm going to move a bit fast now so that people can go and rest. The date has been seen as date here, so we are fine. Salesperson is fine. Commission is 0.04%. Commission in percentage. So let's change it to percentage. Replace it, yes. Yes. Okay, I'm going to remove this because, like I said, I brought in another version of that we shouldn't really have. We don't need, we do have fruit ID originally, so I'll leave that. We have our product count, total sales, we have that. I'm going to remove this cost in pounds. We need to do it ourselves. Not today, we won't do it today, but anything. So all these were there. So I'm going to remove all the total profits, paid commission, all of those. I was afraid this might happen. But yeah. So I believe that is fine now. Do we have a season? Okay, so we shouldn't have all those season whatever here. So I'm going to remove them. Season 3 up to here, we don't. Those were in the fruits. Do we have customer? We do have customer, so but we shouldn't be having this. So I'm going to remove those. Okay, so that is fine. And this is all the cleaning process, you know. This is all trying to conform our data to the right, to what we want it to be. I see a lot of nulls here because in our exception cells there are blanks, so it brought it in as null. Now I don't want null. Since we can have true, why can't we have false as well? So I'm going to change all of the nulls, you know, and we can see actually from the, if we look through the view, if we look at the column quality, we can see empty. It's 99% empty, you know, and we don't want to bring in empty columns and so much emptiness or nulls into the. So I'm going to replace. So we can right click and look for replace values, and we say value. Okay, let's read it. Replace one value with another in the selected column. Yes. What value do we want you to find? We want you to find the null. This is case sensitive, and we want it to replace it with false since we have true already. Okay, so false. Okay, and that solves that, and that is the column quality is better now. So I believe we are fine with the cells. You know, all of the cells is fine now.
Yes, I think you removed season 3 column. I think there's a question on season 3.
Yeah, we've got it on our foods list already. Okay. It's here. Yeah, that's why I removed it. Because this data set I brought in, I think I've used VLOOKUP on this one to bring so many things into sales order when I did it initially. So that's what happened. And our salesperson, I believe we can leave this alone. HR, I always change IDs to that, you know. Team leader is fine. Operations manager is fine. Commission amount, which is what we saw. So which means even that commission amount we saw there should not be there just yet. Commission amount should actually be here for now. Okay, so I'll change that to percentage. And I'm going to remove it on the other side because we should be, it's part of the work we are going to do. Okay. Apologies that I brought in the wrong version. Okay. So our data is clean. It's clean to a very good extent now. Okay. And now it is how we are now thinking about how are we going to relate them. Okay. I can see my sales order. We've got 3 tables. I need this team list to have a relationship with it, with the sales order, which is a facts table. I also need fruit list to also have a relationship with it so that we can form our star schema relationship, okay, or star schema data structure. So if we look at the sales order, I've got the order ID itself. I've got the fruit ID. So fruit has a direct link. But what am I going to use to link the salesperson? I need the sales, like the HR ID now. I need it as well, okay? But I do have the salesperson name. I have the salesperson name, but names are not always the best to use because most of the time names are repeated I mean, we could be having 2, 3, 4 Williams for all we know. So names are not unique enough. In a case where we are very sure that our salesperson name, it's all different, then we are safe to use salesperson, But if that's not the case, then if we go into our team list and look through the salesperson name, and because this is there should be unique list of salesperson name for us to be able to do that. And I'm looking through. Let's look through together, and which will be done in the next couple of minutes. So I see Steve, Frank, Janice, John, I believe we are fine. I believe it's all unique. That's my belief. But I guess we'll find out by the time we close and load. So I'm going to have faith, lean on faith.
Sorry, please. So if it was not unique, what were you supposed to do if you realized it wasn't unique?
So if it wasn't unique, we must look for a way to bring in this HR ID. This HR ID needs to be the one that will be representing us. Okay, if it wasn't unique, because the essence of using IDs or keys is because of their uniqueness. I know my customer number with Tesco cannot be used by another person. Even if I leave Tesco, they will make another ID for another person. Okay, yeah. So that's the rationale behind that. That is not to say that if you look through your data set, names cannot be used, but you just have to be sure that names are not repeated on that data set. If they are, then the purpose of it is defeated. Okay.
Just to quickly add to that, Sister Debbie.
Yeah.
HR ID is the same as employee ID.
Yeah.
That's the employment ID.
Yeah.
So for all those salespeople, they are employees of the company. So instead of them writing employee ID, they use HR ID, but they mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you had like say you had, okay, so all of these people are all different, because we were going to check if there was a William and then there's another William further down.
Yeah.
We were going to make sure that the HR ID are different.
What I will do, I mean, if I found that I've got too many names that are common, and I can't go forward the way I'm thinking, what I will do is I will come here. You see, I'll come to the salesperson here, and I will make another list. Okay, sort of. Let me come under add column. Okay, so I want to make another ID now for these people. This is my own ID I'm giving them now. Okay, so I'm clicking on here. I've come to add column because I want you to add an extra column for me. And I will say, put index for them. So I want them to be numbered from 1 down. So I'll say from 1 or whatever. If you don't want to pick 1, you can pick custom and customize it the way you want. Okay. And I will say, this is my salesperson ID. Okay. Sales. As a matter of fact, I'll make a new table. Okay. Rather than do it on top of here, I'm going to be making a new table. Let me do the proper standard work actually here. I'm in a hurry for us to go because of people that have been here, before now. What I normally do when I encounter such a problem is I would duplicate this table, sales table, this is my sales table. I will duplicate it, make a new, where is duplicate? Make a new table out of it. Okay, so I've got sales order too. All I need is just the salesperson. I don't need every other thing on that table. Okay, because the reason I'm duplicating is because I want some form of uniqueness for my salesperson. Okay, so I'm going to click on this and I'll tell you to remove other columns. Okay. So it's removed the other columns. Now I can now say, okay, add column and give me index from 1. Okay. So this is now my salesperson ID, so to say. Salesperson ID. All right. This is what I normally do. So I will rename this salesperson table. Salesperson table. Salesperson table. All right. Now we've got a uniqueness here. Okay. Now remember that I've only created this ID for this table. I'm now going to merge, okay, so that I can bring salesperson table on here now. I'm going to merge my sales order to my salesperson table so that I can have the salesperson ID here. So if we go to home, merge queries, and I'm doing the salesperson table. Okay, so I'm going to merge on names. This is where we'll know if the names are actually unique or not. I'm going to merge on names. Okay, okay, it's found all of them. 5,000 rows found. And I'm saying left outer, that is bring everything from the left, which is the first one is the left, you know, and we are going to match. Okay, so I'll okay that, bring that in. I only need the salesperson ID. I don't need the salesperson name because the salesperson name already is in this table. Okay, so I've got a form of a form of uniqueness. Now I'm very sure that between this and this, you know, between this and this, I'm fine. Okay, now I will then look for how to bring, still use the salesperson name, and it's looking like a long thing actually, you know, because I know this data set, the salesperson name is actually unique. There's no need to do this. But if it wasn't unique, what?
No, but
what we
sister,
do-
sis, there was the number 1 was William and number 19 was William. The Alice name also came up as number 20 something, I think, and 29. Number 1 definitely was the William, and number 19 on that table was William as well.
Okay, let's see.
Yes, I saw that as well. So they are, so
So are they different Williams or are they the same William?
with this now they are different, but with the real data they may not be different.
Well,
Let's
With
let's
this
check.
we have done now
Yeah.
because we are creating this manually now.
Yeah,
I
just check
see.
that table.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes,
I'm
I
just talking about
see
that
where
table.
there is a problem. No,
Mm.
you are right. I see
Mm.
where there might be a problem. When I did this actually, what you're supposed to do before you index it, you will remove any duplicates. You know, we brought this salesperson from a table where they are duplicated. There's the Williamses have served many others. Okay, so I missed a step here before indexing. Okay, before putting the index, I'm supposed to remove every duplicate because here William is appearing as many times as possible in the table where I did from. So for better practice, let's retract now. After we have removed every other column, we now remove duplicates. Thank God you started that because I would just have moved on. Okay, so now this is now when you now do the add column. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can't have duplicates and do index. Okay, they are not unique, but now they are unique. So now we should have the right.
Yeah, Alice has changed as well because Alice was 16 and 21.
Right. Thank God you spotted that. But and that's the problem. I would have gotten to the report itself And then I will start seeing abnormalities in the report I'm creating. Then I'll have to come back to this step to do that, you know. So we're going to redo this merge and merge again, okay? But that's this step is not necessary for this data, but that's the way to solve that sort of problem if you encounter it, yeah?
Yes.
I think to me, it's possible to have 4 Williams in a company.
It is.
What would distinguish them is their ID. So we shouldn't like argue with the ID. The HR, if there's any problem, we always go back to the HR. And HR will say, okay, this William 1, this his ID is 1, the other William, his ID is 5, the other William. Yes. But I got the beauty of what Sister Debbie just did out of this now. But we shouldn't argue with the ID. ID is ID. It was generated from somewhere.
ID is important. It is what data modeling and, you know, the cross of data analysis is built on. So it's very, very, very.
And it's coming from a source already. So, and if you are unsure, we go back to the source and verify. We go back to HR. You know, we go back
and verify.
Yes.
And I mean, by the time we close and load this, by the time we do our data model, we will see if those names are not unique anyway. We'll see them. We'll always come back and you know, look for a way out. I would have preferred, to be honest, like Sister Felicia was asking, I would have preferred that it is the ID I have here, not the salesperson name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I would have loved to see. Okay. But yeah, so let's close and load this, then we can continue from there tomorrow. I don't want to not load it before saving it. It might not let me load to the way I want to load anymore. So we've got close and load and close and load to. I will go for close and load to so that it allows us to, I'm going to only create connection. The reason for only creating connection is if you've got a very large data set, by creating connection, you are not bringing in all of that load into your work anymore. Okay, you are just bringing the connection in. That it's like it's just hanging somewhere in the cloud. It's not adding to the load of your reports, and it just promotes the performance of your report. That's why with this in this kind of context, I would rather create connection, not table. Okay. And if you want pivot table report straight away, yeah, why not? It's good to play with all of them anyway. Okay. And we must remember to tick this, add this to the data model. Very important. Okay. And then we can close that. It's, you know, bringing it in. And now we can see the queries there and the connections right there, okay? And to be able to access our data model, we just need to come to our Power Pivot and click on Manage. And, you know, it will bring it through, okay? So we've got the 3 tables here in the Power Pivot now. Fruit list, sales order, team list. It's showing us the data view of it. But if I want to see the diagram of it, okay, the diagram of it is here. And we can see the fruit ID. So I'm just going to quickly create the connection. Okay, the fruit ID. So 1 to many. Let's see what the salesperson will tell us. If it says many to many, then okay. So our salesperson name was unique. So it's also 1 to many. Okay, so we are safe. Okay, but that was just the way this data set was just designed to not make life hell, you know, for us, because that question Sister Felicia, you know, threw out there. It would need you to sit down and think through, what am I going to do here before I get to the next stage? And of course, there is always a way out of it. But yes, so we've created our connection. Straight away, we can just say pivot table, from here, we can just say, I want my pivot table, and we can just start working. But I'm just gonna save the work for how much we have done, so far. And then we can take it to start answering our questions gradually, from tomorrow. Have we got any questions?
Just one quick question.
Yeah.
You did the relationship by name. Don't you think that is dangerous?
I'm coming up.